10 years ago, everybody was worried about the world coming to the end at the end of the last century. Remember the Y2K problem? And it got me thinking, not that I was worried about the Y2K problem, but I was worried about the world. I was worried about the planet. And I thought we ought to have some idea about just how bad the planet is in, what sort of shape it's in, what was going wrong with the planet. Because if you don't ask that on the planet's 2000th birthday, when are you going to ask a question like that? So I decided to think about what the planet was like and write a book about it. And the book has this really modest title. It's called The World According to Pimm. That's me, Pimm. It also has a subtitle that says, A Scientist Audits the Earth. I wanted to do an Earth audit. I wanted to have some sense of what's happening to our planet on its 2000th birthday. Global scale. I'm a biologist. I worry about life on Earth. I worry about the variety of life on Earth. I worry about forests and fisheries and rangelands. I wanted to ask questions like, just how much of the planet do we consume? You know, everything that we depend upon comes from nature. It has to grow first. You know, much as I love Jean-Luc Picard, you know, and the ability to go to the, you know, to the wall of my room and say Earl Grey tea hot, it just isn't like that. If you want to have a cup of Earl Grey tea, you have to grow the tea first. And our food, and our fish, and our meat, all the rest of it. So how much of what the planet does for us, how much of the plant growth each year is something that we consume? We don't just, of course, consume food. Our domestic animals consume food, cattle and goats and sheep and pigs and all the rest of it. And we also cut wood, and we use wood, sitting at a wooden desk. So how much of the wood and plant growth and the rest of it that we grow each year, how much of that stuff growing around the world is used by us one way or another each year? But there are other questions like that. We understand that forests are shrinking. We're not using the world's forests sustainably. So how much are we shrinking forests? And although we Americans don't tend to think of it, think about the world's grazing lands, the places where we put our cattle and sheep and goats. Half the world's Earth surface, the terrestrial surface of the planet, is what we might call drylands. There's places that don't have trees. Half the world looks like, you know, Oklahoma or New Mexico. So how much are we doing to places like that? Dry places are really pretty vulnerable. And then what are we doing to our fresh water? You know, most people have not seen a big wild river, a river that doesn't have a dam on it. Mississippi is dammed. If you want to find a river in North America of any size that doesn't have a dam on it, you have to go to Alaska. So how much of the available fresh water on the planet are we using? What about the oceans? A lot of people think that the oceans are just vast and unexplored. The fact is that fishermen go to the ends of the earth to catch fish, places that no sane human being would go to. You know, The Dangerous Catch. I love that program on TV. I love to sit and watch those guys, you know, doing really incredibly dangerous and stupid things when I'm sitting there with a nice glass of brandy in my hand, warm inside my own home. We've gone to the ends of the earth to catch fish. So what are we doing to the oceans? These are really kind of big questions. What are we doing to the planet? How much of it have we taken? How much are we going to take in the future? There's 6 billion of us on the planet. Even if we're lucky, by the middle of this century, there are going to be 9 billion of us. That's a lot of people. So whatever we're doing to the planet now, we're going to be doing a lot more to the planet in the future. So I've got an inquiring mind. I want to audit the Earth. I want to know what we're doing and what we're going to do in the future. And if we're doing bad things to the planet, what the hell are we going to do about it in the future when things get worse?